Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. It is Thursday, November 28th, Thanksgiving night at 10:38 p.m. A little bit later than maybe you thought the postgame would be coming at you. But the whole Dowd family was being hosted here at the Boiler Dowd Boiled Sports Central Indiana headquarters, and it was a fantastic day. I hope you had a fantastic day with your family as well. Literally incredibly blessed day with me and my family, and it pushed back the post game a little bit. So I apologize for being late, but I'm sure you understand. Like I said, hope it was a day for you where you felt grateful, thankful, blessed with your family. Yeah, I'm going to talk about Purdue's victory today. That they improved to 6-1 versus NC State and San Diego in the Rady Children's Invitational. But first, before I do it, thanks to our friends at AJ's. Head over to eatajs.com, order a head or a pint, and then get some mac and cheese bites or some pretzels, some Italian beef, whatever you'd like, and then go straight towards if you come from the stadium or Mackey Arena, come from Ross 8 or Mackey, head towards the fire station, turn left, the blue lights, and you'll see the friendly faces. The delicious foods will fill your nostrils with yumminess, and then you'll get a pint with Boiled Sports Magnet at the bottom. Can't lose there. Burgers, beef, and beer, that's AJ's. And then if you're in the mood for getting some I don't know if you get your Christmas shopping done at home field right now. You might have already turned the corner where you're starting to get it for stuff for you for New Year's, for the new year. Let's go again. Head to Home Field Apparel. Try one of the platinum packs. They've got mystery boxes we talked about. Really, really good value there. Enter Boiled 25 at checkout. You can get 15% off your first order. Or this weekend, their Black Friday sale continues. Head over to Home Field Apparel's Twitter feed, enter that code, and you get like 30% off. That's a better deal. We're here to help you in Boiled Sports, so don't use our code. Use that code. That's better. Right now, I'm watching the Memphis and Tulane game, and I think the winning team, the coach, goes to Purdue next year. I think that could happen. I do really think that could happen. By the way, those are two guys that I have a lot of interest in. That is not why I'm talking to you guys today. Not at all. I can tell you a little bit about some more rumors I'm hearing. A couple sources again are giving me reason to believe that there's going to be a change after the IU game. If you're looking ahead to football, Purdue kicks off versus IU on Saturday at 7 p.m. in chilly Bloomington, Indiana. It's going to be some flurries. It's going to be about 28 degrees. If you're hardy enough and you have tickets and you still want to go, God bless you. Way to represent. I think our Boilermakers are going to get the hell beaten out of them because I think Signetti really is going to not be a merciful type. He's not that way. He's not dialed in to be that guy. But and he also understands that I use it 10th in that the playoff rankings. They need to pad their stats and. Doesn't look good for our Boilers. I would love to see the fight for our Boilers. Again, I'd like to see what we saw in the second half versus Michigan State, or the second half versus Illinois, or the second half, was it Northwestern? I think Northwestern second half was good. Those are some good games. We can call those. Those are fighting games. I'd love to see it. And I think regardless if we see it or not, a fight, I just think IU is really good. I've been saying this all year. Not an IU fan. I do not like IU in the slightest. In fact, now... what is going on there? But Purdue kickoff then. But right now we're looking ahead to basketball. Or Purdue will play tomorrow after earning their way forward in the Rady's Children's Invitational in San Diego. They get to play Ole Miss tomorrow. Matt Painter gets to play one of his nemesis. I think he is 1-4. I think that's right, versus Chris Beard. I think he's 1-4 versus Chris Beard. So you had Arkansas Little Rock, Texas Tech. Twice at Texas or just once at Texas? Maybe he's 1-2. That's possible. He's either 1-2 or 1-3, I think, versus Chris Beard. and they get to play Ole Miss, who is ranked. And that's the game you wanted as a Purdue fan. But how did they get there? Well, they played NC State today, and it was an interesting game. If you didn't watch it, I understand. Maybe you were in the thick of Thanksgiving stuff. But I watched it with my family, kind of halfway. And here's what I saw. I think Purdue looked really, really solid. I think they looked workmanlike. The small ball thing continues. I think that's what we're going to see going forward. There's some real bright spots happening. Number one of the biggest surprises, if we're going to go that way first, if you like surprises on this holiday Thursday evening, biggest surprise is continuing to watch Cam Heide get his confidence back. He's got it. He looks like the beast that I think we thought we'd see this season. Not only is he shooting the ball well, he's also playing above the rim, which he is very, very capable of doing. Obviously, I got to come up with a better nickname. I said I called him what did I call him? Something flighty, Cam Flighty. And I think I had some people with Thanksgiving say that sounds like he's just got a flighty personality. I'm like, no, I'm trying to come up with something about soaring over opponents. So if you got a good one, let me know. I know, like I said, Miles Colvin has the best nickname. I think it was given by somebody in the Purdue family. It's awesome. Sky Miles is awesome, but Cam needs another one. Cam Can is a good one, but it's not there yet. Does he need a nickname? I don't know. Probably not. Don't get off my back. It's Thanksgiving. So Cam Heide surprised us a little bit just in the fact that at parts of that game, he absolutely took the game over. But the guy who really took it over, Trey Kaufman-Renn again. Just Brian Newbert had a great point. He said something along the lines that, becoming Purdue's starting center, Matt Painter's starting center, is like being, he said something along the lines like being the president-elect or something. Good things are about to happen for you. Like you're about to take office, right? You get a good position because you're important, and TKR is important. The interesting thing is the growing pains that Purdue has gone through to get to this point. Right. There's been some games where TKR has looked really dominant, no doubt. And there were some games where you're like, okay, it doesn't look like he's ready for this role, meaning, just not a powerful force, a solid center, power forward, whatever. But he looked dominant today. And that poor power forward from NC State, was it Middlebrooks or whatever? I was looking up pictures for the thumbnail today. I hope I changed that. I might not have changed that. If I didn't, I'll go back and change that after this thing gets aired. But that guy has really had to struggle with Purdue big men. Another interesting thing about TKR's dominance, while TKR dominated, first played a couple minutes, played solid. I think he had 5 rebounds, which were important. Purdue looked really good on the glass, especially in the second half. That's probably the biggest story, is the way they rebound in the second half. Really, really good effort there. Heide rebounded well. Also off the bench, I think Harris rebounded well too, if I remember correctly. I'll check it out. See if my memory is accurate. But you didn't see much of Berg, any Berg. We didn't see any Berg, no iceberg today. And had a really nifty drive by First, like really resolute looking drive, the type I want to see more of First doing. But you just saw a big dosage of TKR it feels to me, and you guys can tell me I'm wrong. Smith is so patient. Maybe this is what Painter talks about. He's so patient at times where he looks like, okay, it's not working today for me to be the guy who's trying to score. It wasn't that he wasn't trying to find the soft spots in NC State's defense. In fact, I think he knew exactly what he was getting. NC State looked a lot like they did last year, even though they were such a different team personnel-wise, right? They lost their 3 best players to graduation, I believe, old-fashioned way. And they're a very different team, but they're still Keats, I think it's the name of the coach, the guy who, bought himself a lot of time by, number one, getting through the ACC tournament with multiple overtime games. I think 1 double or triple overtime game to win them the championship. Then coming in to the tournament, 11 or 12 seed, and then finally getting the Final Four where Purdue spelled their doom. But it was a lot like that game. Purdue had a lot of guys that got involved, played really well. We'll look at that in a second. The stats were really nicely spread around. Purdue played a very, very good team game, but of course TKR was the guy. Let's look at it real quick. What shall we? Okay, so like I said, Purdue wins their second straight. They're 6-1 now. NC State's 5-1, but NC State had played nobody. Let's be real honest about that. They were ranked lowly according to the power rankings, but that's the reason. If they hadn't really played anybody, they were 5-0, but not getting challenged makes a big difference. Purdue is going to get challenged again and again. Tomorrow they're going to get challenged by Ole Miss. Then you've got look just down the road to Texas A&M and Indianapolis, and then of course, this game is the one that gets my attention more than any of them is Auburn. I think Auburn's the best team in America. They're debating that today on ESPN. I don't think there's any doubt, especially with all the losing that's happened in this feast week. You've seen so many teams just struggle. Auburn looks dominant. They look great. My nephew, it's fun talking to kids about basketball, right? My nephew is a freshman here. He plays basketball here. He just made his high school team, his freshman team. And we were talking about rankings and stuff like that. And I said, are they number one? Yeah, they probably are the best team. Does it matter? Not really, because as we know last year, right? Purdue, I think, was number one this time last year. Purdue was never better than UConn last year. Like UConn was always the best team. UConn this year, very different. Now they've lost 3 straight. If you go back 2 seasons ago, UConn lost a bunch in a row in January because of injuries. This is different. You're seeing some fun stuff happening to UConn. Couldn't happen to a better coach. Hurley's such a jerk, and he's very frustrated. So good. I don't beleaguer a team that's good. I don't have a problem with UConn being good. I have a problem with Hurley being a jackass. And a guy who's under uncontrollable rage will eventually bite him on the ass and maybe get him fired and arrested, I think. I think that's the way that goes down. We've seen this story before. We've seen coaches like this before, right? Well, let's get back to Purdue. All right. So, like I said, Cam Heide played a great game, 15 points, 6 boards, pretty quiet in the rest of it, but the way he scored, it came in bunches. He really showed his athleticism. He had a couple where he went up top, got on the elevator, and finished a couple plays. One was, 2 of them, I think, he had an alley-oop, and he had one that looked like it was going to be an incredible alley-oop from a long way away, and it was just a shotgun pass. It was over. I mean, it was like a laser. Can't remember. I think it was Smith who tried to throw it, but he kind of overshot him. Heide went 3 for 5 from 3, and this is the interesting thing. This Purdue team needs the 3. There's no doubt, but today they didn't shoot it exceptionally well. They didn't shoot well at all. I'd say 30% from 3, and still to cruise to victory the way they did. It really shows what they did at the end. They just kind of wore NC State down. NC State, if I remember correctly, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys with 3 fouls. So they spread them around. Nobody fouled out. They were doing everything they could to really slow down Purdue playing a physical brand of game, which is what NC State does. But they had nobody foul out. They spread their fouls out, and Purdue still just kind of played a workman-like solid game. The way Purdue did it, though, was not turning the ball over, which we've heard this before, and rebounding the ball. Exceptionally tough on the glass down the stretch. TKR specifically he had 8 boards, he had 22 points, he had 2 assists. He had a pair of turnovers, but man, he was very, very solid. And he just looked like he had a quiet confidence to him, which is kind of the way he does things, right? He's not the enforcer that Edie is. He's not the, immovable object, but he's very skilled, and his ability to get guys off their feet and then take advantage underneath is really pretty fun to watch. And it's a different brand of basketball. Braden Smith. So if you look down this is pretty nice. The way we spread the points, you have Braden Smith with 11 points, 6 assists, 3 boards, 2 steals. Braden Smith continues to be a guy that he fills the stat sheet, right? We talk about that triple-double. It's coming. We just don't know when, right? I think it'll come. Will it come before the first year? I don't think so. Will it come during the Big Ten season? I do think so. But he didn't shoot the ball that much, did he? Let's see. Shot the ball 8 times. So he didn't shoot exceptionally well, 25%. Free throw line, he was solid. He drew the fouls, went 6 for 6 from the line. And then Fletch Lawyer, again, quietly, Fletch Lawyer did his job. 10 points, 5 rebounds, and assist to go along with that. He was 5 for 6 from the free throw line, did not shoot well again, 2 for 8. But those guys, they really stopped forcing it felt like to me. Just handled their business like veterans. Miles Colvin this is what Miles Colvin does. If the shot isn't falling, so he's over 2 for 3, what's he do? Plays good defense and pulls down rebounds. 5 rebounds. Miles Colvin. This is what Miles Colvin is now. It's wild to see that transformation. I still love it. Off the bench, Burgess played a little bit. Caleb First, like I said, he played 14 minutes. But Jakari Harris played a lot of minutes down the stretch. He had 8 points. He had 4 boards. He had 3 assists. He had a steal. He had a block. And he had some tough assignments, too, at times. Jakari Harris is tough. Purdue only turned the ball over 6 times. So similar to that Bama game earlier this year, I think that was a 6 turnover game. And then on top of that, they out-rebounded. They dominated the glass 38-28 over NC State. And there's your formula this year at Purdue. Until Purdue really gets rolling, or if they're not bombing from 3, it's going to be that simple. Fundamental basketball, and you cruise to victory. But they're going to run into buzzsaws. I think they're going to run into buzzsaw versus Auburn here in a couple weeks. I think this Ole Miss game will be a dogfight. This team's got a chip on their shoulder, just like all beard teams do, right? So, so it's this tournament obviously is less momentous than many that are on TV. There's been so many upsets this week. It's been such a fun week. If you're a college basketball fan, as very good teams have dropped, a lot of games. This game is not one of those that this tournament is not one of those that is that much of a big deal. Very interesting. There was a chance, of course, to play Cannon Catchings, who left Purdue and his teammates and decided to go to BYU at the last minute, or decided to turn his back really and get fickle. And Painter said, "Okay, enough. We're stopping the charade." And he played pretty well. I watched part of that game. He's a little more filled out than I thought he'd be, because I watched him playing the OTE or whatever it is, which I hope to never watch again, honestly. I watched way too much of it when he was playing, and there we go. So, but that would have been an interesting storyline, is playing Catchings. Instead, you get to play Painter's nemesis, like I said, and Chris Beard. Okay, let's go to comments. IC says, good evening, how are you? Pat Gotch also says, happy Thanksgiving to you and to everybody. Thanks, Pat. Karen Grulock says, Boiler Dowd, wow, happy Turkey Day. I think you say wow because you're probably surprised that I'm doing anything, because it felt like I was asleep at the wheel, probably, Karen. But happy Thanksgiving to you. Good to see you. Nathan A says, happy Thanksgiving. Same to you. Boiler Up, I see. Marty Davenport says, family comes first. Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, it was a good day. It's a good day. Boilers 012. I think I do that. I think it's 012, whatever. I don't know what to say there. Happy Thanksgiving. Great to see you. I was worried you joined the list of decommits from earlier today. Yeah, there were some noteworthy decommits from the football recruiting. Yeah. That's not I appreciate the guys that are still committed to Purdue, and really at this point they're committed to Purdue because they wanted to come to Purdue. And I think, I'm not gonna put any more comments out there. You guys all know where I stand on this whole thing, and it stinks that Purdue feels like a ghost ship, right? But hopefully they haven't given up. Players haven't given up. Been great effort. It's awesome to see. So, just tough position. Pat Gottschall says, who stayed up late last night to watch the Lady Boilers reverse sweep Oregon? Intense match. Love to see it. Yes. So here, I did not stay up for this, but this is an interesting connection. My brother-in-law lives out in Oregon, and I told you guys about our friend Ken, remember, during basketball. So he lives out there, but he's got some connections at University of Oregon, and he was courtside. And he was pretty stoked. He texted, I found this out during Thanksgiving, my father-in-law, he texted him and said, turn on BTN, you're going to see me because I'm courtside. So he helped route the Boilers on to, what do they call it? They don't call it extras, right? They don't call it, they call it overtime? I think I call it overtime. I don't know anything about volleyball. I love Coach Shondell, and I love that team, though. That's the thing, like interacting with them. I wish I knew more about volleyball. Dave here at Boiled Sports knows quite a bit about volleyball, but I don't know anything about volleyball. So I'm not going to pretend to it, but I like Shondell a whole bunch. Let's see. It's a fun sport to watch too. That's the other thing. So it's very much worth your time. If you're in the market, watch volleyball. Watch Purdue Boilermaker volleyball. It's the Lady Boilers. Okay, Pat Gottschall. Wait, no. Ted Berkey says, happy Thanksgiving. While we can't face Cannon Catchings, we now have the opportunity to get 4 wins against the almighty SEC. Yeah, and this is, I think that Auburn game is going to be in the way. I don't know if I've been clear. Gosh, that was a good hit. Sorry, I'm watching highlights from the Bears game earlier. Detroit is tough. But yeah, SEC's good. SEC's really good. And I'm not a guy who like believes in the top to bottom conference thing. SEC in basketball, they're better in basketball than they are in football this year. I know it's sacrilege for many, but they're really good in basketball. Nefnala, the hardest name for me to pronounce for some reason, says I use the home field for Christmas gifts, 30% off plus rewards, easy peasy. That's it. That's the way to be. Well played. Pat Gotchel says Indinia will totally bring the wood. It's time for us to minimize the damage. Yeah, you want everybody to leave healthy. And if you're going to the game, sound off here, and we'll salute you because you deserve it. Really, I mean, gritty stuff. I gotta tell you, that's gritty. If you like, I've been to was it Memorial? Is it Memorial? Whatever it's called, Memorial Stadium down in Bloomington a couple times. And most of the time when I went there, I felt pretty good about the chance of Purdue winning. I think I've been there 4 times for Purdue games. And I think I'm 2-2 there. Because I went once in college. Purdue lost because they were bad when I was in college. I went... the game that really sticks out, I know they lost that game. The game that sticks out is the one that Anton Randall L won in the rain. That's I had a big contingent of Dowd family people there. So, yeah, but most of the time I felt pretty decent about Purdue winning. It was never one like this where I was like, oh boy, never. So if you're going, sound off. Anyway, you can put in the comments too. Hope you represent. I would bet maybe Morgan would go because he goes to every Purdue game. He's not in the comments today. He's probably enjoying Thanksgiving. Gentry BN says, thankful to get a win for full return of Heidi. Thankful to get a win and for the full return of Heidi. Right on. Nice game for Harris. He's coming along nicely. Kind of concerned about Braden shooting. I don't think there's anything to be concerned about. I think it's not like he's forgotten how to shoot, and it's not like he didn't work hard in the offseason. Just if you watch Alabama, here's why I would say I think Sears and Smith are pretty similar players in a lot of ways. Sears, they're pretty similar, and Sears has hit a bit of a skid. Like during different times this season, he hadn't been shooting well, but I think they're both similar in that they're dominant point guards. They're really, really good. And they're both smart enough to not force the issue when it's not going their way. But I think the hard thing sometimes when Braden Smith is going up against a guy who's a little bit bigger or more physical, he'll try to draw other guys, draw the double team, and then make other people better. And the play calling changes from Painter too. They see that over pursuit of him in the backcourt, and I think he's too smart. I don't think there's anything to worry about, is what I'm saying. If you were really worried about Cam Heidi early this season, maybe the same guy. Maybe that's what you do. Maybe you're a warrior. But I don't think there's any reason for concern. Nathan A says, it's okay playing Beard. He's good at choking. I think Purdue's the hunted right now in this game. But Beard is, that's a good comment. I also say, He likes, my brother and I are making these jokes, so I appreciate the joke. He's good at choking. He beats teams, but he still loves them. Sorry, that's low. He's a jerk. He's an awful person. He's worse than a jerk. He's an awful person. It's incredible to me how quickly he was hired after that chapter, but SEC. Pat Gotchel says Cam is bouncy. Reminds me of Justin Jennings. That's good comparison, but with a jump shot. Yes, and that's the big difference. If you're our age, you of course remember Jennings really was not a shooter. I played pickup ball with Jennings one time, and he could put back dunk shots from anywhere on the court in the correct. We were playing against, he was playing with a bunch of scrubs. I was on the court, but he would wait at half court because he didn't want to really, victimize too many people. He'd wait at half court and watch people shoot, and he could read the way the ball come out and just yam one-handed. So yeah, Justin Jennings was an absolute beast of an athlete. I think he coaches someplace now. I think that's true. Gentry Bean says, is 5 rebounds career high for Lawyer? It feels like it. I don't think it is, though. Ron Gable, we were just texting, says, not likely graduation, I suspect. Most likely ran out of their 8 years of eligibility. I think they had a couple legit grads. I think there were a couple guys. Gosh, I can't remember anybody's name. You know this, Ron. My memory's bad, but I mean, I can picture the guys. That one shooting guard is what I'm thinking of. I think he graduated from NC State, though. And I respected that dude. I thought it was awesome. Of course, the big dude, the big man who Edie kind of stole his lunch money and his girl. That was, he was a likable guy, though. So Mo P says, happy Thanksgiving. Do we know what MTE Purdue is playing in next year? I don't know. I don't know that yet. Maybe somebody else does. Maybe they'll be going a little bit further away. But I don't know yet. I don't know. My brother told me today that the NCAA has a strict rule that you can't leave the continental U.S. 2 years in a row. It's another example of the NCAA just being stupid to me. I mean, what the heck? Like, what does that hurt? It doesn't hurt anything. Let the guys go to the big tournaments. Those are fun. Those location things, those are great for the players, great for the fans. But maybe it's something that you don't want to put too much of a financial strain on people. I mean, what the hell? It's your decision if you go or not. I, of course, can't afford it, but if you can go, that's great. I really wanted to go to Maui, which turned into just Hawaii when Purdue won, just because I've tried that twice. That is such an astronomical trip. If you do any research into it, it's an incredible trip. The tickets are astronomically expensive. So let's see. Pat Gotchel says, minimize turnovers, rebound. That's the only path to an elite season. That is the path to the elite season. You're right. The other path, I think the other path is seeing guys develop some consistency. Like today, we didn't see a lot from Cox, right? So he's a guy that I think is going to do this, right? As freshmen do. Some games, comes in, he's not looking for a shot, can't find a shot, whatever. He was an 0 for today, but I think he played for 8 minutes. I think I said that. And seeing Miles Colvin work more into the offense, meaning we've got this version of Colvin now who's like this defensive beast, guy on the board, that sort of thing. But maybe if we see him aggressively become a little bit more on offense, I mean, Purdue, an athletic guard heavy team, be pretty fun to watch. Also, one thing I saw tonight that I was really encouraged with first was the way he was hitting the glass. So if you can see that happening, yeah, I think it can. I think these coaches are going to find a way. It's weird. Your perspective changes a lot in a 2-year period or 3-year period where your favorite team is ranked number 1 multiple weeks and they rip off a bunch of victories versus the elite. But I have so much faith in this coaching staff. And it's not just because, getting to the Final Four was the end all be all, but it's the fact that you've got a really, really capable coaching staff, top to bottom, that finds solutions. It just seems like they know their identity, and at the same time, they're flexible enough to figure out who they need to go to. This is one thing. This is Painter's biggest strength, his ability to zig and zag and react to the talent. So he's good at a lot right now. Zach Welch says, love the PNR action with Braden as a screener. Really gave him fits in the 2-man game with TKR. Yeah. And Braden, like the pick and roll and the dive, TKR was he was awesome at getting to the basket with just a ton of gumption, whatever you want to say. So agreed, and it's looking better and better every game. Right on. Pat Gotchel says, we'll be good, but those are the keys to the next level. I agree. Boiler Bugle says, had fun watching with my family today. Cheers. We're so loud for Cam's dunks. Yeah, that was fun. It was fun. We were in one of those. I don't know if you guys have this where if you stream on YouTube or whatever, and one TV is like 2 seconds ahead, and those dunks were in that room. They were louder, and then we'd say something good's about to happen. I can see it in my crystal ball. But yeah, it was fun. Let's see. Seth Harder says, seeing Purdue bust their ass today, get a good win while IU's $5 million team look like they could care less to be there. It makes me proud to be a Boiler. Yeah, so the funny thing, and I've got a good friend who predicted this back in June, July, IU went out, they spent a ton of money in the portal. They got some blue chip recruits, right? I think they got 1 or 2 guys. One of them's great, right? So they paid some money, and IU fans were like, yeah, here we go, right? But my buddy of mine said they still didn't solve their shooting problem. And I was like, I think he's right. And then you watch them play. It's not only that, it's not just the shooting problem. The motivation's a big deal. If you, man, they're a program that really needs to find identity in something other than not playing to their level. I mean, I'm good with them staying this way forever, but I think this was this season is the last hurrah for Woodson, right? Like they're like, okay, we gave you everything you need to succeed, and IU's going to get back on that carousel at the end of the season. It feels like really interesting there during the timeout of the game that they got drubbed in, where Luke Goody was doing the coaching because Woodson really just kind of sat back. Was that a sign where he's like, okay, yeah, this guy's the captain. Clearly, he's the leader of the team right now. Or is it more that Woodson kind of says, yeah, I've given you guys my best tools. You guys don't know what to do, so I don't know what to say in timeout. I really don't know. I don't watch enough IU timeouts, but I would say if I were an IU fan, I'd be bothered or worried about that. So they do have a good payroll, though, and they do have a lot of talent. IU never suffers from a problem with talent. Regardless what your favorite IU fan says, your friend, level-headed buddy who just says, here they go, they got the talent. They always have the talent. It's not new. They always have the talent. Hosehead says, good solid win. Nate Dolan says, happy Thanksgiving. Had to fight off NFL football family fans to watch Purdue. Sad about my Bears. Happy about our Boilers. Yeah, I had a similar weird discussion. I was like, come on. We'll get through the Purdue game before we do any of that. And yeah, you can flip back and forth, but even if you're a Bears fan, I mean, you watch your Boilers here. It's easy to put that game right there in the middle there, but Detroit is so damn good. It's wild to see. It's fun to see. I mean, the Lions went through the Colts. I'm a Colts fan, easily. But it's fun to see a team emerge like this, right? A team they fill the vacuum, right? They fill the void that's left by a couple good teams. So, by the way, Volvo has one of the best commercials I've ever seen. I don't know if you've seen that full version of that. Incredible commercial, but it's one of those, as a parent, if it doesn't choke you up a little bit, I don't know, I wonder if you've got a heart, but I'm a big sap. Pat Gottschall says, my first time at Memorial Stadium was freshman year. Eric Hunter denying Anthony Thompson a bowl game in his senior year, 89. That's fun. That's a good memory. And Eric Hunter was really capable of playing big games on the road. They had that great game versus Michigan. I think that was the same year, 89, where he played really, really well with Michigan. They lost. But Hunter was pretty undaunted by the road, right? But the rest of the team wasn't that great at all. So Brian T says, time maybe listen to Painter's comments about TKR being all Big Ten. Yeah, I think Painter's had utmost confidence about this, right? Since we heard this right after the season last year. So yeah, Painter's not alone. Of course, Newbert said that too. Like, I alluded to that. But it's also something that you watch TKR and you say, this isn't what we're used to still, right? The closest comparison I think we've got really in recent years to not a full, like a big time, big dominant big man is Travion Williams, of course, right? TKR is a very different player though than Williams. Williams relied heavily on the pass, right? TKR is a guy that really getting guys off his feet is what he's good at, and then he makes them miss. But he also the hook is awesome, and he can pop out and hit the three, just like Travion Williams could hit the three a little bit. But this is kind of unusual ground for Purdue fans. I think we're more used to the 7-foot+ big man being the dominant force underneath. So, but yeah, he looks the part. Zach Welp says, the SEC just means more. Yeah. Everything about the SEC means more. Everything's more important in the SEC than it is in the lowly Big Ten. No doubt about it. Go Conference. Brian T says, I was looking forward to potentially facing Catchings BYU. Same here. But Ole Miss took them out. And I think that's the matchup you want as a Purdue fan, because there's more to gain. Number one, like I said, you want a team that has something to play for more than just, chip on the shoulder. BYU is trying to figure themselves out. They're going to be really good, I think, when they do, because they've got a lot of talent. So I like Ole Miss a lot more, because I think it's one of those games. I think it'll get our juices flowing as fans. It just feels to me like one of those beard coaches teams that play physical and play kind of a brand of basketball that can piss you off as a fan watching it. And I think it'll be different than the Marquette game because they're gonna play more beat you up basketball and kind of the chip on your shoulder, talking between plays, that sort of thing. Marquette didn't play that. They weren't real chippy and mouthy. But yeah, I think Ole Miss has the propensity to do that, in my opinion. Zach Welch says IU seemed to bet on the wrong makeup of this team. It couldn't happen to a better program. So that's a football school down there in Southern Indiana. Oh, Zach Welch says, keyword is bet if you believe the Twitter stories. Yeah, there's a lot going around. Nithnala says, haha, I have an IU buddy that swears up and down that Woody is the guy. I love it. Give him an extension. The best thing you can do, IU, is call your athletic director, email him, and extend Woody. I didn't mean that joke to come out. All right, so Nithnala continues. Meanwhile, I have heard of IU fans calling the athletic director make a change head coach. Yeah, that's the thing. The IU fan base, especially on Twitter and in social media, they're funny because it's every December that they want to change and that the world's coming to an end. It's the same. Let's keep in mind, though, they are consistent. In this way, they're consistent, right? They won their national championship that one year versus Kentucky. So that was in December. That was a big national championship. And so when they lose national championships like they did this week a couple times, it's gonna break some hearts. I get it. Those are big games. I mean, Purdue, we bragged about this for years. November champs, that's a big deal to be November champs. We know it. But it's a little bigger deal to play well at the end of the season, be playing your best basketball in March or even April. That's a lot of fun. Brian T says, oh crap, I forgot Beard was at Ole Miss. Yep. He's there. Keeping it classy. And that's it. I appreciate everyone coming on here, watching, listening live, and listening on delay as well. Like I said, tomorrow, Purdue will play at 6 p.m. So that's Thanksgiving weekend, Friday, November 29th. Purdue will be playing at 6 p.m. It's a fun sports weekend, regardless of what sport you like. But this is a great sports weekend. If it's not the best sports weekend, what is, in your opinion? You can sound off below in the comments. Start a little conversation, start a debate, if you will. Nate Dolan says, okay, yeah, I did not mean to say that. Thank you, Nate. So great talking to everybody, though. And happy Thanksgiving again. Hammer down. Talk to you soon. See ya.